All right, so where this all goes next, the debate over tariffs is lighting up, obviously, at this hour. Former Home Depot and Chrysler CEO Bob Nardelli is here, and host of Fox Business Making Money, Charles Payne, is here as well. Great to have you both. Bob, I want to start with you first, because I know you're a fan of leveling the playing field. You've suggested that tariffs are not a bad thing. However, in this moment of great uncertainty, what do you tell folks who are saying, all right, is this the right strategy? I mean, the markets around the world have taken a pretty significant hit. Is the White House on the right track, or should it recalibrate?
Yeah. Well, thank you for having me. As I mentioned many times, I think we've become a society of instant gratification. When we saw the early tariffs go on Mexico and Canada, and as a result, we saw border closings, we saw repatriation of the criminals and illegal aliens that came in here. People were very, very happy about that. Now, Sandra, here we see another move by this president to really try to level the playing field, to your point, and we're seeing an overreaction, in my opinion. The Secretary of Treasury said it, I'm saying it, that we should just stand down. And we're going to see these ups and downs, these goes ins and goes outs. But I, for example, personally have not sold a share. And I'm staying in this market because I believe what he's doing over the long haul will benefit our country in a number of ways, Not only balancing the tariffs, but he's also focused on balancing the dollars of trade, which is also very important for this economy going forward.
But at some point, Bob, there will be real-world consequences. And Charles, you and I have had a lot of conversations about this, and you can only sort of weather this, strategy for so long while markets continue to take a hit, inflation possibly goes up, and then you're looking at the possibility, as the street is writing up, JP Morgan and others are predicting a 60% chance of a recession and a couple quarters of negative economic growth. Are you concerned that this could push us into a recession until we get there?
No, I tend to agree with Bob. Here's the thing. What we're not talking about is oil was $76, now it's $65. Gasoline prices are going to plummet. Any other time, that would be the #1 story. In fact, if you go to the polls, what will get you elected as president? Much cheaper gasoline or Wall Street crying? I'm just being honest about it, right? So, yeah, people have these stocks in their 401ks. And guess what? We've been through it. There's a correction on average every year. There's a bear market every couple of years. I think most people are accustomed to that. But to Bob's point, it's lower interest rates, mortgages coming down, those kind of things. We talked about this year being a real challenge for small businesses to redo their debt. The so-called maturity wall, $9.2 trillion in debt was due this year to be rebalanced. And at levels that we came into in January with the 10-year to 5-year yield, many people were marking some of these businesses to go out of business.
So in your view, are you saying this is going perfectly, Charles?
There's no such thing as perfect. But I will say this. Think about what President Trump did in his first term in office. What was one of his first acts? He dropped Moab, the mother of all bombs. No president ever dared to drop the biggest non-nuclear bomb ever against our adversary. And guess what? He did it. We should have been expecting. I wasn't expecting the formula that they used.
Okay.
But thinking about it, Sandra, this is what he did before to fight something that he thought was worth fighting.
All right. So, Bob, obviously a big question would be, if this is the calculated risk that we've heard his team say it is, did they factor in the drop in global markets that we have seen and the possibility of inflation spiking and the possibility of a drop in economic growth? Those are obviously haven't happened, but there are possibilities and probabilities in this case of some Wall Street banks. Bill Ackman wrote this. He says we're heading to an economic nuclear winter. He got a lot of headlines and attention for this. The president has an opportunity to call a timeout and have the time to execute on fixing an unfair tariff system. Alternately, we are heading for a self-induced economic nuclear winter, and we should start hunkering down, make cooler heads prevail. Here's another voice in here. This is Jamie Dimon in a letter to shareholders today. As for the short term, we're likely to see inflationary outcomes, not only on imported goods, but on domestic prices as input costs rise and demand increases on domestic products. Whether or not the menu of tariffs causes a recession remains in question, but it will slow down growth.
Can I point out the contradictions right there?
Yeah.
Prices aren't going to go up and demand is not going to go up at the same time. Everyone talks about Smoot-Hawley. That was the greatest deflationary period of all time. Scott Bessent said from day one, as part of the architect of this, that he doesn't see recession. And by the way, I think the inflation thing is way overblown. The economy is going to slow. That's where the risk is. I don't think there's inflationary risk at all.
Bob?
Yeah. Yeah, a couple of points. Number one, we have to stop letting Wall Street determine our business. Every 90 days, the satellite passes over, and they take a vote. And when they don't like you and they vote against you, then you get the activists coming in trying to tell you how to run your business. The one thing I saw the other day when the Doge panel was being interviewed, what really set them apart? These are all business leaders, right, who have to deal with these decisions every day, every month, every week, and every year when they're doing budgets. So listen, I think Charles is right. We're on the right path. Jamie Dimon's a dear friend of mine. He's always been half full. I just saw his podcast where he talked about introducing his annual letter. And again, he came across very positive. It was not doom and gloom when he was on that podcast. He was talking about all the good things that, certainly JP Morgan's doing, what he sees in the country.
Okay.
Yes, I think the administration knew there was a risk, but it's a risk worth taking for the long haul.
But Charles, it's just a real quick final thought. I mean, you can't ignore that there is great uncertainty. And even if you support the tariffs and you think this is going the right direction, that short-term pain can turn into longer-term pain if this doesn't come to fruition fast. I mean, would you be in favor of this 90-day pause that Ackman is talking about? No,
it's the ultimate sign of weakness.
No.
Right now, that's the so-called Trump put. Now, let me tell you, listen to what Trump has said. Trump has said it's going to be short-term pain. He equated it to post-operation having a surgery. And then he said, we take our medicine. Those are all short-term things. Think about it. They're working on this. They're going to get this done. The last thing you want to do is a 90-day pause. It weakens his hands dramatically. He's got to stay the course. 50 countries are trying to negotiate, and let's get it done.
It's going to be tough to commit capital in this environment.
So don't commit
I'll say that.
Don't commit it.
Yeah.
It's going to get
Cheryl,
interesting.
you and I lived through this.
Real quick, Bob.
You and I lived through this at Chrysler when the markets melted down.
Yeah.
And you and I saw inflation go. I predicted 10. It got to 9.1. So we've been through this before. The certainty of uncertainty shakes those individuals who haven't been through this before and don't understand a steady hand. Just as Charles said, it would be a huge sign of weakness to back off at this point. He has to see it through.
So we're going to continue this debate. We've got Robert Wolf, who is hugely critical of where this is all going, a former Obama economist, and also Steve Moore, a former Trump economist. So we'll continue the debate. Gentlemen, thank you very much. I appreciate the conversation.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.